Hi everybody, I am Zach from Ford UK, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about actuators, partly because we have one of the biggest ranges of actuators on the market for the aftermarket. Now, an actuator, what is it? It's also known as a wastegate actuator or a turbo actuator, and essentially they are pressure regulators, and they ensure that the correct amount of pressure is delivered to your turbo manifold. So because essentially they're pressure regulators, our actuators are pressure operated, because that's what you see most of on petrol turbo vehicles. Now there are also vacuum operated actuators. However, we don't manufacture those because they're more typically seen on diesel vehicles, which we don't really offer a big range for. But all of your petrol turbos, the way they work is that the exhaust gases build up, which then causes your actuator to actuate and open up the wastegate. And when it does that, it releases all of those gases and lets them bypass the turbines of your turbo. If that doesn't happen, you can get a huge buildup of pressure, which is very bad for your turbo. Very, very bad. So the difference between our actuator and your OE one, original equipment, is that the internals of the OE one have a rubber diaphragm. Now that's okay, but what happens is after multiple heat cycles and different temperature ranges of your engine heating up, cooling down, every time you're driving and then stopping, it can cause that OE diaphragm to perish, which in turn causes it to split, which then means there is nothing to push on the spring and nothing to open your wastegate. What we see more of, being an aftermarket company as well as this, is that when you're tuning your engine, normally when you're going through the stages of mapping, there's more boost pressure involved, which the internals of the OE actuator just are not up to the challenge of, which can also cause the diaphragm to split. So our actuator bodies are made out of 6082 aerospace grade billet aluminium. Nice, durable, reliable, and in the cases where it's needed, we will also provide a laser cut stainless steel bracket. That's to make sure that it will always bolt up straight in the OE position, easy fitment. Now we offer two different internal types for all of our actuators, almost all of them. If you're buying from the US website, we exclusively offer the piston type, and if you're in the UK or the EU, buying from the UK website, you can choose either diaphragm or piston. It's whichever is your personal preference. As in most EU and UK customers tend to go for diaphragm, but in the US they, as I said, exclusively have the piston option, but both are covered by our limited lifetime warranty. So you will always have our support and the attention, I guess, and the care that you need from us with that warranty, no matter which you choose. Now, as I said, it is completely personal preference as to which one you choose, but we quite often get asked which is best. Well, to help you make that decision, both internals are completely serviceable. You can get a service kit for your diaphragm type, and you can get a service kit for your piston type. Now, we have sold and provided way less service kits for the piston type, which speaks volumes for the durability and the reliability of it. The diaphragm type, again, is a fully serviceable item, but the advantage you have on this over the OEM one is that it's serviceable. If your OE diaphragm splits, you have to replace the entire actuator, and in some cases you can't get just the actuator and have to replace the entire turbo setup. Now, if ours splits, which it shouldn't, it is a serviceable item. In terms of performance, the difference is negligible. There are some reports and some testing that we've seen that says that the diaphragm responds slightly quicker than the piston, but I'm talking microseconds. And again, we say the difference in the response time compared to the two is negligible. So again, it just comes down to, as I keep saying, personal preference. One last thing that you may want to take into account is I can count the amount of times this has happened on one hand, but we have occasionally had reports of sub-zero temperatures, the piston type actuator sticking, but that's only on startup. After the engine's been running for a little bit and the pressure is built up and your turbo is just warmed up a little bit, it resolves itself. So again, it rarely happens, but it may sway you in what you choose. As well as being serviceable, both internal types, piston and diaphragm, are also tunable. We have a range of 5 different springs, which will take you from 0.7 bar, which is 10 psi, to 1.4 bar, which is the equivalent of 20 psi, and everywhere in between. These are perfect because we can match the pressure of your OE actuator if you just need a replacement, but also if you're going through the stages of remapping and increasing the pressure and performance of your engine, we can match that. You can tune it and build your actuator to it. It's everything you need, and you get all of the reliability and performance from us that you don't get with your OEM actuator. With all these different spring types, we offer over 1,000 different variations of actuators through our product range. And not only that, you can request a custom actuator from us. If you go on our website, you can provide us with the thread length and the rod length and submit an inquiry. We'll go back to you asking for a bit more information, possibly some pictures, but we can build a custom actuator for you so you can fit it on anything that you want. One of the things we usually ask our customers is, why do you need a wastegate actuator? That's if they're talking to us, that is. And normally it's to get an understanding. The main 2 reasons are your OEM one has failed and you want reliability and you want a replacement. And the other is, if you're chasing power, if you're going through the stages of remapping, you want tunability, which with that tunability comes reliability. As I said, I think I mentioned earlier on, our actuators are covered by our lifetime warranty, and again, nobody else backs their product like that. So if you want great customer service, reliability from your product, just ease of use, then give us a call. We're happy to have any conversations with you. Drop us an email, have a look on our website, and we can go from there. Thank you guys very much for watching, and if you have any more questions, just drop them in the comment section, drop us a message, whatever's easiest for you. We're happy to help. Thank you very much.